Hey, good afternoon. So I get asked a lot about what is in the listing agreement between the seller of a home and the real estate agent. So what I've done is I've kind of taken things and pulled out three things that are pretty specific to the realtor, and from the realtor side of things, what's expected. So, as we move through this, and let's first clarify that every company usually has their own listing agreement. They've had their lawyers go through it, side through it, so that it all works on their behalf. The information that I'm taking today and talking to actually comes out of the state form, so that way it's kind of statewide, and it gives us a real good baseline of everything rather than saying, well, this one says this one says that. We're just going to go off the state form. So that being said, in a listing agreement, and that listing agreement is typically, it needs to be done before the house can be put on the market and a sign in the yard and those types of things. But the first thing that a the seller is agreeing to is that between the agent and the seller is that the seller is going to allow the agent to sell their property, lease their property, or exchange their real property on their behalf. So it just gives the realtor the ability and the agreement that saying, hey, you can work on my behalf. And that's really what it comes down to, is that as a real estate agent or realtor, you're working for and on the behalf of the seller. The When you do that, you take on a lot of different things as far as the realtor goes. One of the terminology that you hear in some radio ads for insurance and some other things that way is fiduciary. Well, fiduciary means that you take on and do what's for the best of the client from a monetary standpoint, and so you're going to take care of them. So, in one of the things that I always tell people in working with me and signing the listing agreement is that I work for you, and the seller, gets to make the calls. So we go back and forth, and there's a lot of communication, which is very important when you're selling your house, that have that communication. So anyway, we're going down a side track and a rabbit hole, but so let's come back. So number one is you have the seller gives a realtor the ability to sell, lease, or exchange real property on their behalf. Number two, the agent has been given the ability by the seller to go find a buyer for the property. Go find it. Go find the buyer. It doesn't say that you can, just sit there, put a sign in the yard, and not do anything. It says that the agent has the duty to go find a buyer. So the first thing, again, sell the property. Second thing is go find a buyer. Third thing is that the seller gives the agent, the realtor, the ability to advertise the property in any medium that is deemed appropriate. Um, to give you an example of that, so if you have a 200-acre ranch in Montana, you know, putting that, and listing that, in the, where there's a bunch of first-time home buyers, isn't really going to get it done. It needs to be in like a ranch magazine. It needs to be in on websites that are based around farming, ranching, cattle, horses, those types of things. And so that's what it's saying, is that you have that the realtor has the authorization from the seller to advertise the property in the medium that they deem necessary and best. So as we look at that real quick, so you've got number one, the agent is supposed to sell the property. Second, they're supposed to advertise, or sorry, first they're supposed to sell the property. Second, they're supposed to go find a buyer. And third, they're supposed to advertise. Well, in the world of real estate, my question really comes back to, as realtors, how many do you know that are proficient and professional at those three things? How many of them can sell? How many of them have had any sales experience? You know, there's a big difference. And in the sales world and in all the trainings that I've had over the years, the selling, people have their comfort level. So some people are fine selling, watches at Walmart, for 20, 30 bucks there at the counter. There's other people that are comfortable selling Rolexes, and there's other people that are comfortable selling multi-million dollar houses, yachts, cars, those types of things. So it takes the right agent to sell the property if they truly are a salesperson. And then it's not just stick it on the internet and let all of the Realtor and Trulia and Zillow and all of those pick up and try to sell it for you. The agents are supposed to go out and find a buyer. So again, if we go back to our 200-acre ranch in Montana, maybe that if that realtor works in that space, in the ranch space, maybe they have somebody that is in that market. I talked to somebody today that has a piece of property that they may sell, that they're working on, but it is designed for the raising and breeding of puppies and dogs. And so, they sat there and we were talking, and it was like, might have somebody, because I've got a couple of people that I know in that space that could help me either maybe buy it themselves, or maybe direct me to somebody that they know in that world, or maybe it's a magazine or a different place to advertise, or a special Facebook group that deals with, animal breeders or those types of things. So that goes to finding the buyer. And then the last part of it is advertising. Advertising is a unique prospect. It really isn't just putting a picture up and saying, hey, open house, or hey, here's a sign in the yard, come see what's for sale. To advertise, you have to have the right colors, you have to have the right backgrounds, you have to have the right proprietary information. You have to have the right call to action. It's not just here's a picture of the house, with a phone number under it. It really isn't. Advertising, go look. That's the best place I can tell you. Go to the internet and pull up Rolex, and then pull up Timex, and then pull up a like a Toyota, and then pull up a BMW. Just look at the pictures, look at the way that they are designed. It's different, and everything's different, because for like a Timex watch, it's going to be less expensive, and so everything is designed for and to show the expense of the watch. Whereas a Rolex is designed with just elegance and high class, and everything is designed for that product. So, if you've got a real small, real old house that's not been kept up really well, to put advertising that looks like a Rolex on it isn't going to get you more money. It is what it is. And so in the real estate world, it's the same type of a thing. You've got to make sure that your advertising matches, but you have the right call to action. And to give you one other story, so a couple of years ago, I was helping a gentleman sell a multi-million dollar property, and the property kind of had sat for a little bit, and I started looking at it going, well, let me look at this really and dive into this advertising side of things. So as I dug into it, what I found is that in Utah, because of our grid system, Utah, most every real estate person just puts the address. It doesn't matter if it's a $200 trailer or a multi-million dollar house. All they do is put the address. But yet, when at this point, when I was selling this house for these guys, most of the buyers were coming from out of state. Out of state, they talk about the exclusivity of a certain property or certain neighborhood. You watch some of those, and down in the Los Angeles area, they're talking about the Bird Streets, or they're talking about the Burbank, or they're talking about Hollywood Hills. It's very specific to the neighborhood. And so to me, as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, well, if they're coming from out of state and they're used to that, then we need to create that on our end. So I switched all the marketing and all the advertising and switched it to, we took it and the name of the street, and we just renamed and rebranded as Eagle Nest Estate. It was a beautiful home. It happened to be on Eagle's Nest Road. And so we marketed it that way. And, within a couple of months, we had it sold to somebody from out of state. That's what it takes to truly advertise a property. So when you're looking for that real estate person, real estate agent, realtor to be able to help you sell your property, especially in this crazy market where we are today, if you're looking for somebody that knows how to sell, somebody that knows buyers and will go find buyers, and three, knows how to advertise, that comes down to a minute few in the real estate world that know how to do all three of those things. And I'd be happy to help you. So let's go. Give me a call. Let's walk through your property. Let's tell the story of your property and show you how to truly advertise, market, and find the buyer for your home.